Into the news, I did want to share a survey that we are doing to see how AI your business is. So I'm going to drop that link in the chat. Some of you may have done it already, but if you haven't yet, you can take that survey and we'll be sharing the research results with everybody. So it's like a 3-minute survey, super quick. And it's also on the blog. If you are watching from YouTube and you cannot see the chat, you'll be able to go to the blog and see that link on there. So for the news this week, there's some fun stuff happening in the world of AI. And one of my favorite news pieces that I found was how AI is being used in museums, particularly at the Dalí Museum, where they have created an avatar of Salvador Dalí. And I'll share you the NPR article is awesome, but basically you go and pick up this phone and it's a Lobster phone, of course. Why not? Salvador Dalí. You pick up the phone and you're able to ask Dalí questions, and the AI version of him answers the questions. So you can ask things like, why are the clocks melting? And he'll go in depth as far as like what the meaning is behind that famous picture where the clocks are melting down the screen. And here's a little video here.
For years, people have attempted to understand my work, trying to find meaning in the surreal, to make sense of the dreams of a historic genius. But how can anyone possibly know what is inside the burning mind of Salvador Dalí? No, they simply cannot. They are mere mortal human beings. But now I can tell you. Introducing Ask Dalí, an audio experience powered by AI and machine learning that allows you to talk to me. Hi, I'm Salvador Dalí, and you can ask me anything. Just pick up my Lobster phone.
Why are the clocks melting?
My dear questioner, think not of the clock that merely melting, to them as a vast stream.
Why are the elephants' legs so thin?
Did you really dream all those things?
What's up with your mustache?
How they brought me here is far beyond my comprehension. All I know is that they used something called a large language model in a recreation of my voice. And here I am. So next time you have a question, just ask Dalí.
I think that is so super fun. And
That's really cool.
yeah,
Because,
I can,
now
like, see...
you put that voice to all of his works and everything else. And I didn't, well, I mean, I don't really know what voice I expected because I never heard it. I just heard him through his visuals. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think about like what we can do with this from previous historical figures, you know, and it might help us to relate to them better. I can see a lot of museums implementing something like this and it going really well.
Yeah. Or even in like classes for like high school or middle schoolers, like talk to Abe Lincoln, see if he actually ever told a lie.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Yeah, so neat.
Play Two Truths and a Lie with Abe Lincoln.
Yes, yeah.
Talk about experiential learning, right?
Yeah. So I'm glad you all like that as well. I saw that and I got really excited because it, like, learning is great, but we're always looking for better ways for us to take in that knowledge, and everybody learns differently. And I feel like this not only helps people learn, but also like helps people feel connected to the artist. So the next piece of news is Runway, Sora, and Pika are coming to Premiere Pro. this is really cool because if you are a video editor or if you use the Adobe suite in your workspace, this means that there will be plugins for all three of these AI video powerhouses where you can actually implement them into your workflow rather than going to Runway, then going to Pika, then going to Sora, and that's coming this year. So very excited about that. Purposely AI is something that we've been keeping an eye on. And they recently released a report where they experienced 162% performance increase for their Facebook ads, which is a really staggering number, especially considering all of the changes that we've been seeing with Facebook going on. So they have a beta waitlist right now. So if you go to the Purposely website, I'll drop that in the chat too for you. But they have a few studies out, and basically everybody's waiting for the beta waitlist to open up so we can actually try it, because they're using larger companies to test this on, and then they're going to open up that to smaller companies. So that's pretty exciting. Any questions on Purposely or Runway, Sora, and Pika coming to Premiere Pro?
I don't really remember. I know that we looked at Purposely a long time ago, but I don't really remember what was so great
So
about it. There's
Well,
so many tools, it's hard to remember. And I know it gives the insights, like clearly we could see that, but
so I would check out this article because the article is linked in the blog and it goes more in depth on exactly what they're doing. But they have not released their, like we haven't been able to test the tool.
so nobody really knows what it's going to do. Because I'm thinking, is it going to be similar to what we saw like in Visit, like where it gives you little tips on like how to improve and grade you and all those things? I mean, I would imagine that's kind of where it's going, but so there's nothing like that at this point.
Right.
Okay.
So we're signed up for the wait list, but we haven't been accepted yet. And we've been on the wait list for quite a while.
For a long time. Yeah. I know. That's why I'm like, hold on a second. I need a refresher on this one because it's like with all the tools, it's hard to remember, right? The Premiere one, though, was one that I saw and that I thought was really interesting and got excited about, because I think right now, you know, we've got all of these tools, just like we started with ChatGPT, like that first round of tools, right? And we have the first round of tools for video are already out there and already being used. And now that they're opening up these tools into something like Premiere, this is next level of video editing with AI. So that's the importance of what this is here, is like the next generation. So this is like the Jaspers, the GPT-4s, the now Claudes, the not the beginning stages, which were amazing, right? Because we had nothing before, and we didn't have stock video footage before, you know, Pictory or some of these other things. But with these integrations into Premiere Pro, you're going to be able to do all the things you can do in Premiere Pro with these tools, which means an endless list of like, you know, splitting scenes and audio versus the background and adding audio or adding layers on top of things. And so that's going to be really interesting. And probably another round of like SAG issues.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
I was just about to say, because it's like giving the everyday person the opportunity to create cinematic storytelling that looks like it's done by a movie studio. And there are some implications in that, and we talk about that a lot, how, you know, we don't want AI to replace our jobs. And as somebody who has worked in the film industry and done photography, like there is something really, really nice about filming a scene by yourself with a team, like all on set together and producing it from scratch. Like that is one of the best feelings in the whole world. But I also really want to create like my own story with all of these tools. And I think like we'll be able to use both styles of video making. But again, we'll probably see regulations coming out with how, how you can use these videos, or if it has to be tagged that it was created with AI or something like that. But I do know there are already AI film festivals that you can enter in. So if anybody is a hobbyist film creator with AI, you can check those out. So okay. I'm sure everybody has been seeing the meta AI in your Facebook all over the place. Probably a little bit annoying. I think they came on a little too hard with that. But one of the other stories that I found really interesting was how the meta AI is working in Facebook groups and responding to people's posts as if it is actually a human. In this particular example, this group is for people who have children with disability, and it's like a parents group. So you're going there for authentic support and advice. And you can see here, Meta replied that it has a child who is gifted and disabled, and goes on to explain a little bit more about how it had experience at the Anderson School. Totally fabricated. So the article that's linked in the blog talks about how chatbots and AI content are flooding our feeds, but how the need for verified human spaces is something that's going to start happening. So whether these verified human spaces are Facebook groups that say no bots allowed or something like that, I don't know what that looks like yet, but this is kind of a weird future. And you can see like one of the first comments in the screenshot is, "What in the Black Mirror is this?" So
That's funny.
yeah.
I did notice, so this is, you said, in Facebook groups.
Yeah, this is somebody, it's Meta replying to an anonymous member in a Facebook group.
Okay, so this week, the API to post directly to Facebook groups was also shut down from social media managers, or at least from ours. So I imagine it's happening in the others too. And if that's where this is taking place, that must be what's driving it, if they want to have, in order to test it and like have some control over, like, if it's going to work better or not, like without all of that coming in. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah. And the bot only, or no bots allowed, this is going to be an interesting little transition, isn't it?
Yeah. Has anybody had any trouble like searching on Facebook or using Facebook on your mobile device since they added in the AI? I've heard like so many people are frustrated right now with the placement.
Instagram, definitely. The search feature is obstructive.
Yeah. It doesn't surprise me that I feel like that's totally on brand for Facebook to release something like that and it be in the way of everything again. But
Right?
usually they do a good job of, like, once they release something and it gets tested out, they do a decent job of fixing it later. So I'm hoping they'll move it so it's not as obstructive, like you said, Mackenzie. All right. let's go on to the last piece of news, and then we'll check out the images that we created. So sure, you guys have heard of Disneyland. The Imagineering team at Disneyland has recently released droids that can walk around the park, and they were trained using AI and simulations and a little bit of animatronics. So I'll share what the droids look like because they are super cute, and I kind of want to pet one now.
They are cute.
That is so cool.
Like little Wallies.
Yeah, they are. And they actually can do little dances and everything. So the dances are adorable, and they have like personality, and they're kind of comedic in a way. Like this one right here starts shaking his bum.
Oh my gosh.
But
And are they just using them right now for like entertainment purposes, or
mhm.
those are
Yeah,
really
so
cute.
they kind of like, you go to the parks and you meet characters at the parks, you can go and interact with these droids. And they are controlled by robots, so they're not fully autonomous. But the way that they were trained is very, very similar to how OpenAI and other LLMs were trained. They use reinforcement learning from human feedback. So that's how they're able to get their gestures and the actions so finely tuned like that. And because they train them this way, they're able to like 3D print the droids. And then it takes them about a year right now to, from like conception to like getting them out in the park for testing. It takes them about a year, but now they can use the same format for pretty much any character. So any of the characters coming out in the future might be AI driven, which is kind of interesting. And that leads a lot more opportunity for having like interactions with the characters, because they can talk back to you or they can beep at you or whatever. With the character, for the people who are actually in the costumes, I know a lot of people love those. Some people get creeped out by them. But one of the downsides is they do charades and they don't really talk to you. So one of the upsides to this model is that they can literally create anything. And similar to the Dalí, like how it's an interactive environment, the AI allows people to interact with the characters a little bit more.
That's really cool.
It is. They're so cute. I want a little pet one. Okay, so for our images this week, we created some backdrops for interior use, whether you have a product or maybe you have like furniture, or maybe you just need some stock photography backgrounds that are like textured. So this first one here, we did an empty room, and you could do this with a variety of different rooms. You could do an empty bedroom, an empty kitchen, and then, you know, go find furniture that you want to put in there. You could even replicate your own house if you were decorating your own room and want to see like what different paint colors look like, or maybe you want to see what different furniture styles look like in your room. So this one, the prompt for this one was a scenic shot view of a large empty room and a Victorian house showcasing the oak wood floor beneath it. A single potted plant stands in one corner, flat and even lighting, only dark green walls, furniture placement, photography. And then we did the no shadows. If you put no shadows in the prompt, because of the way that Midjourney works, it's only going to pick up the word shadows. And so there will be a lot of shadows in there. So we want to put it at the end with the no there, so that it knows to eliminate most of the shadows. And as always, it sometimes like gets one thing off. So even though I said a single potted plant stands in one corner, of course, there's an image where the single potted plant is in the center. So I would pick one of these that I liked and then upscale it and then maybe do some variations to see if there's, because like this one would be, this shot right here would be good for lower furniture, maybe even like a rug or something. And then this one would be good for like dressers. So there's different uses depending on like the scale of the image too. This one we did a marble countertop in a kitchen, and you can see the background is blurred. Now, if you look closely, I think it's the top left one. Some of the spoons and ladles and pots and pans are not to scale. They're just like a little wonky, but because it's got that bokeh view on it, I don't think anybody would really notice. So I liked how those turned out, and you can see how some of these have no shadows and then some have a little bit of shadow right here. So if you were to use this for a product placement, then you would just want to be careful about how the shadows overlay in your product. And then this is supposed to be a wood floor. So a lot of people like using textured backgrounds for different things. You could do like a wood floor or a carpeted floor or a marble background or textured painted wall background. Possibilities are endless right here. But just wanted to show a few different ways. And like typically we would have to go buy these from a stock image site, or maybe you look at some in Canva's library and you can use those, but doing them this way assures that nobody else has the same background as you. So they're very unique to you as a business. Any questions on those? Pretty simple. The prompts are in the blog, and you can see here, like some of them are a little bit longer and then some are a little bit shorter. So longer prompts don't always work as well. Sometimes you just need a short prompt that's straight to the point.
And the tool you used for this one, Katie, was which one?
This one was Midjourney. You could also try it in any of the other generative images, except the only difference is, so like Leonardo has negative prompts, but they're in a different section. So you wouldn't format it like this. It would be, you would click on the negative prompts and add no shadows in. If you're using ChatGPT and Dalí, you'll probably have to play around with the wording again, because like I included flat and even lighting only because I generated various versions of this. And let me see if I still have them up here. But one of the problems I kept running into was an extensive amount of shadows. That's really bad for product photography because then you have to replicate the shadows onto the product, or the product will look weird if it's, placed wrong. So I kept getting like all these crazy shadows, which make the picture feel more realistic. But if I'm adding things to that image, then I don't really want those shadows there. So you'll probably, like with ChatGPT, doesn't really use negative prompting that well. So you might have to play around with like the type of lighting to get no shadows in there. But you could definitely create images like these across the board, depending on what your favorite generative image tool is. What are you typically using, Stacy?
I haven't gotten to play around with it as much as I want to, but I think Midjourney is the way to go.
It's definitely one of my favorite ones. We bounce between Midjourney and Leonardo typically.
It's awesome. They're beautiful images though.
Thank you. Getting some of my own design inspiration.
What I really need from an AI tool is, here's my apartment. Here's the furniture I want to buy that I'm seeing online. Where can I find it for a fourth or an eighth of the price. Please create.
So I will say, one of the first things that I did when we started working with AI, I had ChatGPT teach me how to create a Python script, because I was looking for discounts on certain product and I had it look at Amazon, and then I can't remember what the other website was, but I had it look at another website. So the Python script was checking this one product on 2 websites constantly for me. I like literally don't know how to code, don't know anything about Python. It walked me through it. I was able to get it set up. I was able to find a good deal on a price and it worked awesome. That might be a little too much work for some people because it did take me like a few hours to get it set up and running. But after I got it set up, I was like, this is so cool.
And
oh,
did you
sorry.
did you do it in ChatGPT?
Yeah, I did it in ChatGPT. I
And
think
so-
you can do it in Claude as well. For that one, I didn't test it in Claude because that was like pretty early on, when everybody was like super excited about AI. So
Do you think you still have that conversation and you could share it with Mackenzie?
probably yeah, I'll have to see. It's like probably 10,000 conversations back.
Yeah.
If you make a custom GPT out of it, let me know. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So some of the tools that we have been checking out, I know some of you have seen these before, but Poe and Pictory, and then Awesome is one that we were testing. Awesome is like a good start to doing like your own market research or SWOT analysis. And all you have to do with it is just insert your URL and it prints out a report for you. I wouldn't rely on it for like a full marketing strategy, but it does give you some good insights and some competitor analysis as well. And they do have a free trial that you can test out for 7 days. So if you're looking to like improve your own marketing, that's a good one to play around with. And that's it for the AI news.
Did you talk about Poe?
Oh, I just said because we had mentioned them before. Awesome is the one that we haven't really talked about, but Poe is the one where you can access many different LLMs. You can create your own bots. You can use other people's bots, and it's great for people who are in other countries where you might have limited access to some of the LLMs. And then the Pictory, I know we've talked about that many times before, but Pictory just released an update, which is why I included it in this one. And they have layers in their videos now, which makes it really easy to edit the videos and add things in or move things around. I can't stand video editing platforms that do not have layers. So when they added that in, I was like, all right.
Any questions on what you've been working on, updates, what you've been working on, Stacey or Mackenzie?
For me, well, and this is great conversation. It just flows hand in hand with what I was just talking to my team literally at 3:55 today, and I hop on 5 minutes later and y'all are curating content into a newsletter. And so we were talking about like, how do we do this? Do we work with a tool like Awesome or Awesome, however you say that, or Poe? What would you recommend in figuring out how to curate industry trending content that we could be on the front end of thought leadership for our industry and help it kind of get to a place where we're at what we would ideally like to do is have something served up to us. I know way back in the day there were things you could sign up for and it would curate for you and send you an email with the top 10 things that came, and it's all behind a firewall because you have to pay be a part of it. But there's got to be things now where you could probably tell me pretty quickly how to easily do this myself.
So I don't know if the way that I do it is the best way, because I am constantly we get a lot of AI newsletters, and I want ours to be different than the AI newsletters. So yes, there will sometimes be news pieces that are similar in those, or we might talk about similar AI tools, but I go through LinkedIn, Reddit, and a few other places where content is uploaded weekly and daily. And I look for the posts on there that are trending the most, or the posts that have the most comments with a lot of questions on them, because I know that's what like people are having a conversation about when I see those. So that's how I get our news stories from. And I could probably set up something that would send me, as far as AI goes, to make that process quicker. I could probably have an AI set up for Reddit and for LinkedIn, where I get served the content directly to my inbox or something, so I'm not having to go look for it. But I have not set that up yet.
Yeah,
Cool.
we have had a newsletter bot where we could put some websites in that we might get information from. You can create those if you know the standards. Like Katie just said, the places she goes. And so you could have a little bot out there searching those particular places for the highest posts with the most interaction, you know? And you would have parameters around topics. I think we're getting our AI bot back, like tuned up and better, hopefully on Friday. Because it is possible to do that, and you still want to use your human discernment because you know who your customers are and if this is good news for them or not.
Yeah, so our social media manager platform, the Content Studio, for a long time now, we've had the capability of having automations to pull from RSS feeds. So we could have picked out trustworthy news sources. So, like, I don't know, if we were some sort of bank or something to do with finance, and we picked Forbes and, some other places that we knew no matter what, they would put up content that we would, of course, put on ours. And it auto publishes either to your blog or your social media, but you could also have it populate like to a spreadsheet or something, which then you could also use. So now what I'm thinking, with the capabilities now with Jasper and the API, if you pulled that from Content Studio into the spreadsheet, then the Jasper API could pull it in, put in your flavor, and there you would have all your content. So
Cool. Yeah. Good thoughts. Good thoughts. Thank you.
lots of different ways, but
Yeah.
some ways that already exist, some different ways that are coming, like with these bots. But there was already the way of reposting via RSS feeds in your social media accounts and blogs. So
Yeah. Awesome.
What sources do you typically go to for news in your industry?
Oh gosh. There's about a list of probably 10, I would say. I don't remember a lot off the top of my head. But that's just from me kind of curating that list down. There's a ton of industry news out there and outlets out there. So for me to even get to a place where I know I've got 10 good ones that I'm going to check these out, and then going to those separately, that's where I want to be served up. So your ideas are great for that. So I'll just keep working on that. And also, competitors in the space too. Keeping an eye on what everyone else is doing is really important. for us. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we
exciting.
get, yeah, definitely. We get so many different AI newsletters, which I appreciate because it helps us stay on top of what's going on. And each AI newsletter is usually like we have some that are geared toward marketing, and we have some that are just very general, and then we have some that are like super tech heavy. So like they said, knowing your target audience and everything, but also just like having those other newsletters coming in helps me kind of see like what is going out into the world, and then like also see what we can do to be different and stand out, and maybe serve up content that people are not getting from those newsletters too.
Well, for us, I would say the first half of the week was a very SEO focused week. And we were thinking a lot about how AI is going to affect SEO and organic, and looking at like SGE and how we can be ranking or appearing in that new type of search if it is to replace traditional search. And so some things I was asking like our SEO advisor was like, how do we rank in SGE? What do you think organic will be in the future? And some of his responses really centered on like, you just need to be having the most useful content. So it's a lot of like the same basics that you know before. But my question then was, well, how do you know that you have content that's useful? And he shared Perplexity.ai. I think that's the one. Hold on.
Yeah, that's one.
Perplexity AI. And it's I think you guys have shared it before, or I'd seen it before, but I had not used it. But it was really interesting because it showed you not just search results, but it showed how it pulled those search results based on the sources it was pulling it from. So you didn't just get like a block of text as the answer. It was a block of text as the answer, and here's the 5 places that they pulled that source data from. So that's helping us kind of determine based on our keywords that we want to be ranking for, are we showing up there? And if we're not, how can we be showing up in as a link in that source and building content around those gaps? Another thing that he shared was there are a lot of cool tools and features that you guys have shared as well, like 11 Labs that will turn, take your blog content, turn it into like audio content, use an avatar and turn it into somebody speaking on a video. One thing that I struggle with like a smaller creator team is like, well, yes, we can make that content, but who's going to use it? Like, what is the benefit of us actually putting it on the page? And he just gave some metrics, I think, that kind of switched my mind a little bit around it, of like time on page, action on page, like click on page, that can actually increase your organic rankings because Google's going to see people actually interacted on the page and stayed to listen, instead of maybe they don't want to read, they just scroll away. At least they're clicking on an action, which shows that it is useful to someone. So that kind of helped us out. And the other thing, I don't know, I think, have you guys played around with notebooklm.google, the new notebook by Google?
I don't think so.
I'll throw it in chat. Nor have I. However, he shared that with me and he was like, I'm using it all the time. And I'm like, okay, I've yet to use it this week. Not saying that it's not useful, but it just hasn't found its way into my day-to-day use. And
it's one of their experiments. So I think, was it last week that we went over the
A couple
experiments?
weeks ago.
Because that wasn't in the experiments when we went over it, I don't think.
I think it's pretty new. I think they showed it in like one of the videos of what was to come, but it's officially here.
Research assistant.
right? Of course, it comes out as I'm getting ready to graduate.
Now you can get another degree.
What can I get a PhD in? Oh man.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of the samples here.
Yeah, so some use cases he was talking about was like, it's kind of like what you could do is like, let's say you have a bunch of rules for how you want a blog written. This would make it so it's like whatever is generated in this chat has to follow the rules provided in my instructions, because that's like the knowledge that it knows for the structure.
Mhm.
It's pulling outside knowledge for like resources, but the structure is just what I provided it in the original source.
Yeah, and it's interesting that they're creating these as, I feel like they're creating these apps as like uses, instead of having like one tool that does all of these things, because this is exactly the same thing that we do in other tools.
Yeah.
We just, so it's like you say, follow the format of this blog and then use these 3 pieces of content to write a blog and go. And that's basically what this is doing. So yeah, it looks like a great tool and probably will be way less confusing for people if this is what they need to do and like go right into it and start, writing things based on a format and combining more than one source at a time.
Mhm. And I think they use a lot of these to improve on their AI. Because I think if I understand how the experiments work, they will sometimes segment out certain experiments if they're working on improving like that functionality in their AI. So like they use the notebook LM to test how formatting
makes
works and
sense.
everything. And then once that's like great and everything, it might become an app, but it also might help Gemini format things better too.
Yeah, that's a good point, because then it doesn't make the rest of Gemini wonky while it's being sort of tested and trained and figured out.
I'll have to play around with that some more. Just looking at the samples. Anybody else have any fun AI stuff going on? Stephanie or Marikar?
I just recreate the things you've done on our on the newsletter to Leonardo AI, and I think it looks like same as did, but
You can share your screen if you want, if you're able to.
here is it. But my problem is it's not empty. There's still like there's still
Yeah.
portrait, and then there's still sofa, or there's still a chair. It's not empty.
The first one was pretty empty. I like how it included the fireplace there. That's nice.
Yeah.
And like
And
the
the
other
wood.
one is empty, but it's got paintings on the wall of
Yeah.
creepy men. Um, and then the floorboards, I like your floorboards better than the ones that I made. I probably would remake, or I would probably like fix the prompt on the one where you have just the wood paneling.
This one.
Yeah, those are nice because mine were like super grainy and yours look a little cleaner. And I probably would like adjust mine a little bit. I thought they were super dark, but those look good.
Yeah. And this one, look at the basin. It's on the floor.
That's weird.
Yeah, but the other one are good, like this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that some of mine were adding on like plants and fruit and stuff like that, and the fruit was always slightly too oblong. So I kept changing the prompt to not include fruit on the table because the fruit just looked like it was from an alien world.
Well, those could be
Yeah.
pears, so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, those look good.
And there's the other one.
Ooh, that's
This
pretty.
one is
That one,
blurred.
That's nice.
yeah, that one's nice. They're all good. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and what I like about that style of image, if you're using it for like your website or for a Shopify listing or something, like nobody's really going to be focusing on the background. They're going to be focusing on the product that you insert into there. So those are cool.
Yeah, those look really good.
Did you cover Hey Jen and what we are doing right now, Katie?
Nope.
I was just thinking that might be interesting for Mackenzie and Stacy too.
So we are working on creating our avatars. I think Mackenzie, you've created your avatar before, right? Yeah.
Did, yeah.
And I know, Stacy, I can't remember if you were in the images and video class or not, but
I missed that one.
so I'll show you what Heijen is. Let's get logged in here.
Yeah, I actually recorded mine just before this.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. You guys showed me this.
Yeah, and I really liked the video I did. And what's cool about when you're doing your avatar, the training of your avatar, is it doesn't matter what you're saying, which makes it a little easier because I know when I have a specific thing to say on like Zoom or wherever it is, I'm not as natural as if I'm just talking like right here. And so when I did this video, I just started like most of it, well, not most of it, but some of it didn't even make sense. Like, you know, I just started talking about something else and it doesn't even matter because it's just capturing like what you're doing, if you move your hand, if you move your head, how your eyes move, all of that. And I was actually messaging Katie earlier because I was like, I really like my video, but there's this weird shadow that's like giving me these chins. And I'm like, can I fix that or do I just need to re-record it? So
That's awesome.
that's what I was worried about.
So a couple of things with this, and we learned this as we were creating our own. You can record with your webcam. However, HeyGen will not let you fine tune it. And I'll play what it looks like. I have not done the fine tune recording because I'm going to have to re-record this on a cell phone or a camera to get the best quality. But without the fine tune, you'll notice just the mouth movements are a little off. So I'll play it to let you hear what it sounds like. Hey, Katie Brittle, your instant avatar is ready. Try creating videos with it. Also, click the feedback button to share what you think. Hope you enjoy.
Are those really your hands?
I didn't think it was that bad. Like, you know, really for like your first, I mean, I know it's you, so you are noticing it. Like, but to outside people, like, and I said this to Katie earlier, I could tell it was AI, but I also liked that I could tell it was AI because I kind of would rather someone know that they're watching AI instead of wondering if what they're watching is real, you know? I'd kind of rather them know so that there isn't any of that weird, like, fraudulent looking thing, you know? It's like obvious that we're using some AI, but I thought it turned out pretty good. I mean, I'm going to share the HeyGen, I think it's just HeyGen, let me see, the Instagram, because there's a girl on there that has been doing, okay, that's not it. There's a girl on there that has been using
an avatar for influencer marketing.
Mm.
And her videos are very, let's see, this is probably it. All right.
This video. What you're watching in the other video is my digital twin that I created with artificial intelligence. I've tried a lot of different AI avatars, and HeyGen's instant avatar is the most realistic with natural voice cloning technology and lip syncing capabilities. It only takes 5 minutes to create your avatar, and then you can upload whatever script you want and let the tech do its magic. So one video of yourself can essentially create hundreds of videos of yourself, even speaking other languages. This is perfect for content creators, marketing teams, sales professionals, and pretty much anyone who wants to make content. All you have to do is go to HeyGen's website and create a free account, and then you...
So she's been doing influence, she works with HeyGen, but she also does like influencer campaigns. And she is one of the few AI avatar influencers that has gone viral because people had no idea that they were watching AI in her videos. She usually records in places like this, where the background looks like very realistic and homey or very authentic. And that's one of the things that we have to, one of the best ways to record is like if you put a white sheet behind you, and then you have that background where you can just change it out to whatever you want. And you do want your face to be well lit. So I would like, if you're going to create an avatar for yourself, don't do it in the dark recesses of your office.
I know. I figure if this is going to live on through hundreds of videos, it's going to be right. I'm not just going to put whatever out there, you know? Here, my other question was, because I'm working on mine today, is should I remove the background before I feed it to HeyGen, or should I do that afterwards?
So it does it for you after.
Okay.
You can, so like if you look at Nicole's video, this is one right here where she recorded, you're in a hotel room, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And then you have this right here, where there's no background.
And then for future videos, you could place backgrounds behind the avatar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying, Katie, though, to put a sheet behind you to record is best, so then you can change out the background?
Yeah,
Like
so
a white
like
sheet,
how
or-
yeah, like a white sheet. They do have an option where if you want to record at studio level, you do it with a green screen and a proper camera. That does cost extra. And you have to have like a wireless mic and all this other stuff. But the instant avatar, they recommend this in the instructions to put like, instead of me recording in a room like this, I'm going to go downstairs and put a sheet against the wall and stand in front of the wall or sit in front of the wall and just record myself like that. And then I'm going to use my ring light to make sure that I have enough light going on my face. Because one of the things on social media platforms that we have found to be consistent across the board, well-lit videos perform better. So if you're doing anything with your face in it and your face is shadowed at all, it's probably not going to perform as well. And videos with your face in it are generally going to perform better than videos with no faces in it, just because it's social media. So you want to be social.
So what's the deal with the microphones these days? The reemergence of the little tiny microphones. What do you guys think about this?
I think they're weird, but
It's a TikTok trend. It started on TikTok. They started selling the little mics on the TikTok shop. And it became kind of like a fun little prop to use in your videos. And some of them actually do sound really nice, and they can improve the quality of the voice. Some of them are super cheap and they sound staticky and horrible to the ear. So if you do get one of those, just make sure it's a good one. I personally, I have like a mic like this that I use for podcasting and like video recording and stuff like that. I do not want to be holding on to something while I'm talking on social media, but some people find it comforting to have something in their hand too. So they'll use it to kind of like if you're not really comfortable being on camera, sometimes having something in your hand to hold can eliminate that stress. So a lot of different reasons why people use them, but it did start on TikTok. And that kind of leads me to an interesting point. The TikTok bill, I think it went in, like it is being passed soon or something as far as getting it banned. Whether or not that's actually going to happen, we don't know for sure, but YouTube is opening a YouTube shop similar to TikTok shop. So YouTube is stepping up their game to try and compete with TikTok, just in case it gets banned. Everybody will probably move over to YouTube because YouTube has a lot of the same functionality.
Cool. Time to get your YouTube ready.
I'm curious to see where that all goes.
Me too.
Maybe Google will buy TikTok and then it will be their property.
I really like TikTok. It's one of my favorite platforms to go on. So I hope it doesn't go away, but that is the life of social media platforms. MySpace used to be where I hung out, so.
Me too.
Anything else before we head out today?
I think to just circle back, I was gonna ask again. So when we're talking about, we've talked a lot about, hallucinate, if I can talk, hallucinate.
Not hallucinations.
Thank you. Okay.
That's turned into a totally different mastermind.
The word of the day. On Chat GPT and things like that. I don't know how much Jasper does that, but just wondering from trying to curate factual data. And I think that's one that we were talking about the other option that Mackenzie brought up. Would that type of platform, Perplexity, be a place to go where you could curate facts? So let's say I was looking for a stat, or I wanted I know something is out there and I want to find maybe 3 sources for this particular thing. Would that be the place to go to kind of curate? It's one of those things where you're kind of in a meeting and you're like, oh, I know this thing I've talked about a lot, but I forget the source, and I want to maybe write a blog about it, and I want to make sure that I'm saying it correctly, and then maybe sourcing the original study that it was on. Would that be the place to go?
Probably.
Yeah. So Jasper will sometimes pull in accurate facts and will sometimes link those facts.
Yeah.
But I think Jasper's strongest suit is when you input those sources and it can create from those sources. Then Chat GPT, if you're using version 4, I would not use version 3.5 to generate any sort of facts. It will absolutely create some fake stories for you. But it will do something similar to, can you also see my screen?
Yeah.
So I have it on Perplexity right now, and I just asked it for statistics about how many people buy gifts for Mother's Day. So it lists the sources at the top for you, and then it gives some bullet points. And then each one of these numbers right here is a link to the source. So ChatGPT will do something similar to this. It usually has the number behind it, and we can actually probably test that in ChatGPT to compare. But what I like about Perplexity is that it lists those sources right at the top for you. So I'm just going to put that prompt into ChatGPT there. And I don't know what kind of data you're looking for. So you might need to get more specific with I'm looking for data from scientific magazines, or I'm looking for data from, whatever resources.
Yeah, that's
this
great.
Presented it a little differently. It's got the links in parentheses, but sometimes it'll have those same numbers, like the 1 and the 2.
Yeah, great. Thank you. That's helpful.
And Claude will do a little bit as well, as far as providing accurate information.
Yeah, and our lawyer friend, he uses Perplexity.
Cool. Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
I still think there is not one tool that does 100% of all the things. So still a good practice to use more than one, to even just to double check.
Well, I feel like too, so Perplexity I've used in my research, and I've used Gemini and Chat GPT, and I feel like the types of resources that they show are sometimes different as well. So I might pull all 3 up and put in the same prompt just to see what resources are being pulled up, and then I might grab 2 from ChatGPT and 3 from Perplexity or something like that. So sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're completely different, and then you have an entire research list that you can use.
Yeah, that's great.
Any other questions, comments? Nope. Good job, Katie. Thank you. Thanks for facilitating today and doing the work on the newsletter. It's always interesting to see what's out there, even if it's not relevant to exactly what we're doing. It certainly is mind expanding of what's possible with AI.
Sure thing. Oh, I did want to mention, if you all have questions that you would like published in the newsletter, we are accepting questions. So if there's a use case that you kind of want us to explore a little bit, you can submit that. We'll explore it a little bit and publish your question with your name and business in the newsletter.
Thank you. Thanks for showing up today. And I hope you all have a good weekend, good rest of your week.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You too.
Thanks, guys. See you
Bye.
later.
Bye, everyone.